sir! The Spanish resistance! They won't surrender! Talleyrand is secretly negotiating with the Tsar! Besides that, the medic said your hemorrhoids will get much worse. Wonderful, what else? There's a man, sir. He said that after examining your bust, he has concluded that you have a very poor cranial circumference that does not justify your success. What? What are you talking about? A phrenologist, sir. He measured your bust and concluded that your success is undeserved. Undeserved? In short, sir, he said you are an idiot. I want you to destroy this man. I want him to never teach again. Draft a report saying he's a charlatan, that phrenology is a scam. And where is my snuff tobacco, god damn it? That is not exactly what happened. But Napoleon did block the man who will start our story from entering the Academy of Sciences. And that man is Franz Joseph Gall. His interest in skulls began in childhood. He noticed something peculiar. The students with the best memory all had very prominent eyes. His conclusion, verbal memory was located behind the eyes. And when it was highly developed, he literally pushed the eyes forward. From this intuition, the method known as phrenology was born. It would dominate the sciences for over a century. The logic was simple. The skull molds itself around the brain during growth, so the surface of the skull reflected what lay beneath it. Certain organs were so overdeveloped they literally created bumps on the skull. Gall identified 27 fundamental faculties, 19 shared with animals. And he built his map using people with extreme traits, criminals, geniuses, and the violently insane. He was so obsessed with his work and his autonomy that he even turned down an offer from the king. Hello, Mr. Gall. I would like you to give you the honor to become my personal doctor. No, because he had to collect human and animal skulls for his work. Because everyone knows that skulls are never enough. Franz, we need to go on tour in America. I said no. But you promised that when you reach 300 skulls you would stop. No, I want one more. Gall was brilliant. Gall was obsessive. Gall had 300 skulls and zero interest in sharing the spotlight. Which is why almost nobody knew the name of the man standing next to him at every lecture, every dissection, every sold-out tour. Johann Gaspar Spurzheim, the collaborator who did half the work and received none of the credit. The man who smiled while Gall took the applause. For years. But that was about to change. The two band fanatics toured America to sold-out crowds. Gall was celebrated. Nobody knew who Spurzheim was. Then, in 1815, the Edinburgh Review declared phrenology pure charlatanism. How dare they call us charlatans? Spurzy, come here! Some idiot has dared to say our science is charlatanism. Clearly the zone of intelligence in his skull is one giant cavity. I want you to go there and demolish him. Clear? Yes, sir. Good, I always knew you had the bump of obedience. Spurzheim went to Edinburgh. He refuted the critic by performing live brain dissections in front of packed audiences. It was an extraordinary success. His popularity grew enormously. He made the discipline accessible to the general public, calling it the key to improvement of human faculties. Phrenology had never been bigger. Spurzheim arrived in America in 1832 for the most anticipated lecture tour of his career. Every seat sold, every city waiting. 3 months later, he was dead in Boston. And here is where the story stops making sense in the best possible way. At his autopsy, which was public, because of course it was, the audience didn't just watch, they took notes. And then, as Spurzheim's body lay open on the table, they removed his skull, his brain and his heart. The crowd was delighted. His death, however, didn't slow the spread of phrenology, it only sped it up. And the new and grotesque mania spread dangerously. The theft of famous people's skulls. It was believed that possessing the skull of a genius was the only way to unlock the secrets of the human mind. Joseph Haydn had just died. Rosenbaum, a phrenology fanatic, bribed the gravedigger to exhume the body a few days after the burial and remove the head. But it was summer, the decomposition was so advanced that Rosenbaum vomited the entire way to his home. They concluded that Haydn's bump of music was extraordinarily developed. I ordered that Haydn's remains be transferred to a more prestigious tomb. But when they opened the coffin, the scandal was immense. The body was there, but where the head should have been, there was only a wig. Rosenbaum, who was known for being a phrenology fanatic, was suspected immediately. Police! Open up! We are here for a search! Oh my god, 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 oh my god. Don't tell me you stole another skull, honey! Quick, I have an idea! The police searched the house, but Therese hid the skull under the mattress and got into bed, pretending to have severe menstrual pain. The officers then decided not to search the bed. Rosenbaum then handed the police a fake skull, a recently deceased young man, which was buried with Haydn's body. The real skull passed from hand to hand for 150 years. It was only reunited with the body in 1954. Haydn's tomb still contains two skulls today, the real one and the decoy used to mislead the authorities. Mozart had been buried in a mass grave, which for a phrenology fanatic was an enormous problem. The skull of the greatest composer in history was somewhere in there, mixed with dozens of others. Unrecoverable, unless you had planned ahead. It is said that a gravedigger tied a metal wire around Mozart's neck before burial, to retrieve the skull years later during the emptying of the grave. The identification of that skull has been contested for centuries. It probably still is. Beethoven went differently. Someone offered large sums of money to the cemetery keeper to obtain the composer's heads. The keeper said no. The skull stayed where it was. And then there is the Marquis de Sade, the author of the most scandalous, most violent and most explicit erotic work in the history of literature. The man whose name gave us the word sadism. He died in 1814. His skull was taken for phrenological analysis. We have no sign of ferocity and no excessive erotic impulses. I declare that this skull is so pure that it could belong to a father of the church. Anyway, phrenology saw a real boom thanks to the Fowler Brothers. They were entrepreneurs, and when they heard about phrenology they thought one thing: money. A lot of money. Through them it became a cultural phenomenon, sold as a self-help tool. They opened the Phrenological Cabinet in New York, a museum full of plaster casts and skulls. It became the most popular attraction in the city. People lined up and paid to have their heads read. There was even a fashion for styling your hair to show off your most prominent bumps. They created the porcelain busts as a guide. It became a home furnishing, a status symbol. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert were so curious they had their children's head read. A phrenologist was appointed tutor to Prince Alfred, the Queen's second son. Even Walt Whitman was obsessed with bumps. He had a cranial map made that he kept for the rest of his life. He even modified some of the scores himself. Phrenology could reveal your character, your ideal career, and even your perfect partner. So are we compatible? I'm afraid there is no compatibility. But how? The wedding is already planned. I love her. I'm sorry, but this is science, sweetheart. Don't despair though. I found someone with the perfect compatibility for you. The ideal partner. But that's a chicken. Hey, who's the phrenologist here? Pal. They even require phrenological certificates for job applications. The organs of honesty had to be well developed. There was also an organ of alimentativeness located in front of the ear. Too large, the cook was surrendered to gluttony. Too small, the cook wasn't skilled enough. But phrenology's popularity didn't last forever. The Fowlers had to recon with Mark Twain himself. To ridicule them, Twain showed up under a false name for a school reading. Here is where the bump of humor resides. It means you're not funny at all, sir. The best you can hope for is work in a mine. But one thing is certain, you are not funny. Mr. Twain, what a pleasure, please let me examine you. I have never seen a bump of humor this developed, Mr. Twain. You are truly, truly funny. After that, Twain ridiculed the Fowlers on every occasion, mocking phrenology even in his most famous books. And this is how the video ends, school lovers. Subscribe and enjoy life.